wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Easy Talk Part 1. We've got a completely full house tonight. We've got some regular faces and we've got a new face. So let me get into the intros. IG or Indian Gooner, welcome to the Easy Talk. How are you?
Oh, I'm high on Arsenal.
Okay, good,
Surely.
good. Welcome to Canon 4 TV, one of the favorite segments that we like to do on this channel. We've got Mobay Gooner all the way down in the States. How are you, brother?
I'm here, man. You already know how we get down here.
Yeah,
Mobay and Hennessy, we're here for a
there you
good
go.
show. Let's go.
There you go. There you go. Where's my Hennessy, man?
Oh, we'll say it ain't nothing but you tell me, man. I'll mail it to you. It ain't nothing but a thing.
Nice one, nice one. And we've got Richard from Arsenal TV, who is also my host every Monday on Canon 4 TV for the segment called Fan Comments. Brother Richard, how are you, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Do you know what? I'm actually quite bored with the international break for the 2 weeks. I just want Arsenal back.
Nah, I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush.
Well, do you know what? That's what it's like for us Gooners. You know, we want the football to come back, but it is
Yeah,
what it is, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So, like I said in my intro, this is actually part 1 of the Easy Talk. There's going to be so much. I got the funny feeling that it's going to be like a feature-length version, and we're going to carry it over on a Friday, but we're going to have maybe different faces on the Friday. So let's get into the part 1. So the part 1, we're going to talk about Unai Emery. Is he ever going to learn his lesson? He made quite a few errors and mistakes in the North London derby. IG, what are your thoughts
Yes.
about Unai Emery, our fantastic coach at Arsenal?
I believe if to answer your question, then I think we'll come to know about it if Granit Xhaka will be put into the oblivion or not. But I think the whole idea is he is a manager who is going to learn by making mistakes. He's a guy who wants to try. That's what happened with Mustafi. I think he tried Mustafi a lot last season. He tried lots of combinations in the defense, but Mustafi was the constant who got maximum amount of exposure. We all saw that had got a hell lot of yellow cards as well. So we had to depend on Mustafi because we did not have anyone. Mavropanos was injured. Holding got the big 6-month injury. So I think the defense was in shambles. So he trusted Mustafi, and Mustafi, I won't say betrayed him. Mustafi played his best, and statistics-wise, he was the best defender for Arsenal last season. But
Mm.
Mustafi is the definition of average. So if there is another word in the dictionary in average, that's Mustafi. So we saw what happened to Mustafi. He's been a fringe player now. So I think something like that is going to happen with Shaka, and definitely I think Unai Emery knows how exactly he has to go, but he knows what's on the line. So I think yes, to answer your question, yes, I think he will learn his lesson, especially after the North London derby.
Okay. Um, Mube, what's your thoughts about Unai Emery so far? This is the second season. And for me, it does appear as though he's playing players or a player who constantly is making errors, which leads to goals. What's your thoughts about
Uh,
Emery? Do you still back Unai Emery?
you know my feeling. We had a show before the season start, and I tell you, me and you, we had this conversation before. I think Richard was on too, and I said that if he doesn't get top 3, if we don't get in top 4 this season, Emery got to go. It doesn't mean that I don't back him, and you guys know last season I gave him that season. No matter where we finished last season, I would never say a coaching change because after Arsene Wenger, it was going to be hard for any coach that comes in. With the players that we had, Mustafi was a starter. The players that we had in there, Nick Steiner that we brought in, that was a mistake. I was never going to judge him on last season. This season is different. He's got the tools that he needed, but it's still early. It's only 4 games. We got 7 points from 4 games, and the one loss that we got is away to Liverpool. And if you look back at the Liverpool game and said, if Aubameyang had took that chance, if Pepe had took that chance in the first half, that's 2 goals. We would have been sitting here right now praising Emery for having a masterclass. But that's not to say he haven't made any mistakes. You know, we think it should be starting the strongest player in the North London. The problem I have with the first 4 games, well, not the first 4 because the first 2 Torreira going to start, but Torreira is our best midfielder, hands down. He's the most important player in midfield for us. Not Ozil, not Ceballos. Torreira is the most important because we needed a player like that forever. The problem that I have with Emery right now is he's playing Torreira out of position to try and accommodate Granit Xhaka. And that's what I have a problem with. Because if you look at the way Torreira is playing, he's popping up in the opposition box, trying to score goals. And
exactly.
He's playing more right on midfield, and he's getting forward. So that's not Torreira's game. But he has to do that because Granit Xhaka doesn't have the wheels to get forward and get back. So he have to put Xhaka in the deep midfield to cover everything, to cover his flaws. Because he can't, but Granit Xhaka can't even put a good tackle in. That's the problem. So as far as the season goes, the first 4 games, we have to get Torreira in his position. He's got to be at the base at that midfield. That's his position. That's what he does. He's not a forward-thinking player. He's a defensive midfielder. He's the best defensive midfielder that we have, and we have to play him in his position, not to accommodate Xhaka. If Xhaka can't do any more than he's already do, he's got to go. Emery is going to end up getting the sack because of Granit Xhaka. The same way Wenger had faith in Giroud and not bring a forward player in and got himself fired. But let's be honest, that's what happened. If we had won the league the year when Leicester won the league, Wenger would have still been here right now. Because fans would have been as bad as we were. The only reason why we lost the league is because Giroud went from January to April without scoring a goal. You know, so and Wenger still kept faith with him. He didn't sign a striker where we needed one. So all into that trap. He's have to play the best player that we have, play them in the best position, and go forward. But I'm still backing the manager. It's only 4 games in. We got 7 points. I'm not panicking yet.
Okay. Before I go to Richard, IG, here's a question for you. Can we improve on Granit Xhaka? Is there not a player out there that is better than Granit Xhaka?
I'm actually having a video lag here. I'm sorry for that.
Is there a lag?
One
Hello?
sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So my question was, is there not a better player than Granit Xhaka? Can we not improve on Granit Xhaka? His line's gone. It's gone. All right, Richard. Richard, I think we've spoken many times about Granit Xhaka and his frailties, and you know when he makes errors which leads to goals. And I did see a stat the other day which actually said that literally Granit Xhaka, you know, since 2016, he is the one player who has caused most goals against his own team.
Yeah.
So why does Unai Emery constantly play a player instead of playing Dani Ceballos?
If I'm being completely honest, for Granit Xhaka, and the reason why that he keeps playing him, I think it's because of his long-range passing. That's the only thing I can see why Emery's playing him. Now, going back to your question before about Unai Emery, you know, I will always support the manager 110%. But this is a more important season for Unai Emery because he's got the tools. He's had the backing from the board to bring in the players that he wanted. So if he doesn't get top 4 this season, then his job could be on the line. Especially if he's going to keep playing Granit Xhaka all the time, and then we're going to concede goal after goal after goal. And he has to get that midfield balance right, because I don't think he's got that midfield balance right at all.
But you did say to me, I think on fan comments, that Unai Emery, he worries you.
That's what I'm saying. He does worry me because, like, why would you play 3 defensive midfielders in a game against Tottenham? This is what I don't understand. I understand the reason why he set it up the way he did against Liverpool, because Liverpool have got a much better attack to what Spurs have. You know, if you look at Liverpool, their three strikers is Mane, Salah, and they've got Firmino as well. You know, so Tottenham, their only two strikers they've got is Son and plus Harry Kane. That's all they've got. If you look at Tottenham's midfield, it's pretty much average. It's pretty much average compared to ours. This is why I feel that in the Tottenham game, we lacked creativity in that first half. The only time we looked like that we was causing a threat was when Danny Ceballos came on in the last 20 minutes of the game.
IG, are you back with us? I believe. He's still having some lag.
I'm sorry for this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, I do have to question Unai. You know, like you, Mubay, I'm going to back him. I will back Unai Emery. He's maybe 80% of the way to having all the players literally that he's wanted. But I'm still going to back him. But I do question sometimes his decision making. You know, again, why do we have three defensive midfielders? Why did he give instructions to Torreira to go so far ahead where at some point he was even ahead of Pepe? And on the right hand side, you've got Song, who's very, very quick. And most of the problems came down that side there where Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's your guy, didn't have much cover. Yeah. Because Torreira was
didn't play with a lot of cover on that side. And that's the problem that I'm having with this formation that he's playing. He's trying to play with this three in midfield like Liverpool do, with Henderson, Fabinho, and Wijnaldum. He's trying to play with that formation. The problem is all those players are mobile. You know, Torreira is a mobile player. You know, he started. Guendouzi had a wonderful game. I think Guendouzi had a good game. The problem is when you play Granit Xhaka in that deep line midfield position, he's not disciplined enough to stay there. If you look, I'm gonna give you a point in the game. I don't know if you remember the chance that Granit Xhaka had to put Pepe in when he was on the halfway line, when he intercepted the ball and he was dead up the field, like on the top of the mid, and he was to play that ball into to Pepe. Granit Xhaka was ahead of the whole midfield. He was ahead of Aubameyang. He was so far ahead of everybody else. You know, I know it was a chance, and he missed the pass, which can happen to anybody. I'm not blaming him for missing the pass, but it was just the position that he took up at that point, which I question. If you're a defensive midfielder, you should never be in front of your strikers. You should never be in front of your other midfielders. You have to be disciplined enough to stay there. If you notice how much we got countered, it was like the last year when Wenger was there. We saw this over and over again when we played Man U at the Emirates and we lost to them 2-1, 3-1, whatever it was. We was peppering their goal. They gave Megan a good save. They cleared the ball out, and then they off down the next side because we don't have no cover. Yeah. We see this over and over again. We don't want to get back to that, you know. And that's what Emery got to. I think the reason why he played three defensive midfielder, and this is what I'm thinking, because we sold Monreal, we playing with Kolasinac. Kolasinac needed cover because we know he's not good defensively, which I think he had a good game. He surprised me with how well he played because he actually got forward and he actually did good defensively. Our problem was all on the right side. But you can't ask Pepe to do but so much. He was the right midfielder, but he was actually creating a lot of chances. You know, you can't expect him to cover for Niles, and that was actually, you know, Torreira's job. But Torreira was so busy getting in the middle where Xhaka was supposed to be at. Nobody was on the right-hand side covering that side for him. So it's like nobody in this team. It seemed like nobody in this team seemed to know what their role is in midfield. The three midfielders just seem to be running around the field. That's what they seem to me. But nobody seemed to know their position. Xhaka don't know he's playing defensive midfield. Torreira don't know he's playing on the right-hand side of that midfield because he's keep coming inside. And Guendouzi, he's trying to be the creative influence in midfield, which he's not that kind of player. But that's what he has to do because nobody else can do it. And he did a good job of it. All I'm saying is player best players. Ceballos, I know he had a bad game against Liverpool, but there was no justification in dropping him and starting those three in midfield. There was no justification in that. And Emery loyalty to Xhaka, man. I don't know. We'll see when. I'm gonna back. I'll back the manager, and I'm gonna back the players also. We have to. This are players now. You know how I feel about Mustafi. You guys already know. Don't even want to bring him up. But the transfer window closed, and he's still here. If he plays tomorrow, I hope he play like Prime Maldini. That's just what I hope. It's our player now. We can't do nothing. So I really pray and hope that Xhaka come good, but it's difficult, man. It's really difficult.
But Granit Xhaka, is he a defensive midfielder or is he an attacking midfielder?
Nobody knows. He's a long passing midfielder. That's the problem with Granit Xhaka. You don't know what he can do. He can make a long pass, but then he can't tackle, and then he can't create. So he's stuck in the middle. He needs to really pick a trade. Like one of these players that he's like Fabian Delph that was playing at Manchester City. They played him at left back, right back, center midfield. And as a player like that, you become a utility player. You don't have a trade. Yeah. You can't master nothing. You can fill in spots, but you're not a master of anything. That's the problem that we have one of those players that's starting in our midfield. He would be a good fill-in player. If he was on the bench and coming in, he could fill in a defensive midfield. He could fill in an attacking midfield if we needed to. But the problem is he's starting. I think deserve to start over him. Right now, Ceballos is playing better than him. Torreira, I think, is our best defensive midfield, regardless of what you think. And Guendouzi is playing better than Xhaka right now. There's more players that playing better than him that should be starting. And the favoritism is just got to go. The favoritism that Emery is showing to him is got to go. He's going to use that favor.
See, Al, this was my problem. When I looked at the starting 11, I was surprised that Willock wasn't even on the starting 11 because Willock was one of the players that really did impress us over the preseason and the games that he's played in the season.
He had a calf injury, Richard. That's why he didn't. He was on the bench.
Oh, was that why? Oh, yeah, right.
He had a calf injury.
I didn't know that.
I'm thinking, then why was he on the bench? But yeah, apparently he had a calf strain, which is why Emery didn't play him. So that answers that question there. IG, can you hear us loud and clear? Yes. So my question was to you before. I know you're having some problems with your the Wi-Fi connection and maybe the audio. Can we not have an upgrade on Granit Xhaka? Do we not have a player currently in the Arsenal squad who's miles better than Granit Xhaka?
Well, if Arsenal can give me a jersey, I can be a better player than Granit Xhaka. I can prove that to you. Well, I think Granit Xhaka, you asked earlier whether he's an attacking midfielder or whether he's a defensive midfielder. Granit Xhaka is a brainless midfielder. Well, the problem is that he has had so much international caps for his country. Imagine a guy holds his nation and he has played 72 odd 80 international games and showing that much amount of immaturity in a North London derby, throwing himself up at Heung-min Son. He's a national diver of North Korea or South Korea. I don't remember. He dives for basic small things. So if you give him a reason to just fall off, and that's a very straightforward penalty, even Xhaka, not even the crowd behind were complaining that should not have been given a penalty.
Yeah. But you know what?
Big luxury midfield.
But the thing is, like you rightly say, that Song, he's very agile, and the slightest of touches, he's going to dive. But the problem was, it wasn't even the slightest of touch. It was a stone cold penalty. Dived in right at the guy's, feet in the area. It wasn't a push.
Right.
It wasn't a slight nudge. It was a dive, which was a clear as day follows night penalty. So I'm wondering, for me personally, I don't want to see Granit Xhaka.
Well,
He's
for
not.
players,
He's a squad player. He's a squad player. He should not be in the first 11. He's a utility player. Maybe he can fill in, maybe at left back, because we only have Kolasinac, who's the only one recognised fit left back. He's only a utility player. He should not be on the first 11. That's my thoughts. It's terrible.
Right.
Terrible.
no,
Uh,
it's really true. It's really true.
Richard, sorry, did you want to say, did you want to add anything onto that? I can see your face.
Well, yeah, I'm actually surprised that Arsenal missed out a chance to go and get Fabian Delph, to be quite honest. I'm actually surprised we missed out on him. I think there's also another player that I can actually point out who's actually better than Granit Xhaka that we need to get in the side, and that's Decore for Watford. We need to get him because I think that he could provide more, and plus he's a natural defensive midfielder, so he would be able to support Lucas Torreira. But I did notice during that Tottenham game, Lucas Torreira was rusty. He was very, very rusty. And I think that might be down to he hasn't had that many games to play for us, or that not many minutes. But this is what I'm worried about Emery, is that he needs to get the right balance in that midfield. Once we can get that balance in that midfield, I think we will be absolutely fine. That's why I said to you, Al, I'm worried about Emery in his position, because I think if he doesn't get it right, and then we come out of the top 4 by the end of the season, and we're not in Champions League, and we fall out of the Europa League, then this is where I think the board might be ruthless and say, you know what, maybe you're not the right man for the job.
I think it might just come to that, unless somebody up high has a word with, Unai Emery and just say, you know what, you probably do need to bench Granit Xhaka and give some of the other players, a chance. I would like to have seen Martinelli. He hasn't played since the opening game, has he, Mubay?
No, he hasn't. It's pretty. Is what it looked like to me. It's pretty easy for Emery to drop young players. If you notice, he took Nelson off at halftime. He dropped Willock. Martinelli don't get in, so it's pretty easy for him to drop young players. He dropped Chambers after he had a clean sheet against Watford or whatever, not Watford, but Newcastle away from home. He dropped them, so it's looking quite easy. Young players. That's not the kind of manager that we want. We want a manager that's brave in his decision. He's brave enough to not play Ozil last season when he was fully fit and ready to go. We need him to be brave in his decision. Pick the best players for the job. And right now he's just not doing that. He's picking players that doesn't deserve to start, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. This international break, I know it's a long one, and we want to see the Arsenal, but I think it comes at a good time because it gives a couple players a couple weeks to get fit. Pepe, Ozil, he played the whole preseason, but then he missed all his time because of the situation that was going on with him and Kolasinac. So hopefully after the international break, man, we can have a full squad fit and ready to go. Like I said, it's just 4 games in, so I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to give Emery to the rest of the season, but if he doesn't finish top 4, that's it for me.
Okay. Right, so it takes me just to my segue. Anyone who's watching Camera 4 TV, this part 1 of the Easy Talk. We've got a full house here. Rich is actually doing something special because he's making his way towards 1,000 subscribers. Richard, can you remind the viewers and subscribers what you have in store for when you reach your 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, well, my current subscribers at the minute is 792, so I'm heading away to 800. Now, what I've decided to do to get that 1,000, I'm actually going to dye the middle of my hair blonde, or maybe red. So that's what I'm doing once I hit that 1,000.
There you go.
And I'll actually do a video for that as for the 1K special. So there you go.
So whoever's watching now, make sure you go over and subscribe to Richard's channel. We'll leave the link in the comments box below. Help him towards 1,000 subscribers so he can actually dye his hair red and white. That's what I want, red and white. And IG, where can viewers and subscribers find you? You know, what platforms are you on? Are you on Twitter or YouTube? Where can they find you?
Well, recently on Twitter just because of Canon Fodder TV because I had to contact them, so I came on Twitter. Otherwise, I did not. I'm on
I'm
Instagram.
sorry.
You can follow me. You can follow me in the at my Instagram account, the Social Outburst. But as it is on YouTube, I create videos since December last year. So the channel's name is Indian Gooner, and I make videos on Arsenal. And probably, well, it's not something about pride, but I think I'm the only channel from India. So I think I want to be the voice coming from a distant land. And obviously, we all love Arsenal. So I think the place on the earth doesn't matter, but our feeling does. So you can find me on my platforms, I guess. Yeah.
So listen, but I know you've just finished now, but I've got to say that Indian Guna's channel came up on my recommended list of channels to view, and when I saw the first 2 minutes of his first video, I said we've got to get this guy onto Canafoy TV. Really, really high energy stuff. Go over there. He even has the roast of the week. Is it the roast of the week?
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Yeah, that segment. I like that segment. I think I've voted for someone. But if you want to know what his channel's about, go over there. Or we'll put better still. We'll leave the link in the comments box below once we've done with the Easy Talk Part 1. Mobay Gooner. Now I know you're not active so much these days on YouTube.
No,
he's not.
I don't.
He's not.
Yeah, I still got my channel. It's still there. I just don't have the time to. If I can't give it 100%, I'm not gonna make videos. I'm not one of these guys that do it just for the views. If you check out my channel, you see it. I do it just because I love to do it. I don't have to do it. I'm not doing it to get subscribers or get views or whatever. I'm just doing it because I love to do it. I just don't have the time to do it. Like I told Alex not too long ago, I started the business a year ago, and I'm really busy. So I really don't have time to do a lot of stuff, man. So I just come on Cannon Footer. You come on here, join the show, subscribe to Cannon Footer. If you want to get in contact with me, I'm on Twitter, Mobay Gooner, and guarantee if you follow me on Twitter, it's not just about Arsenal. It's pretty wild.
So is it you or the headset speaking?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's the Hennessy. They already let you know. You go to Twitter, you see it. You see it on Twitter.
Oh, dearie me. All right, okay. So let's get into the second topic we wanted to talk about, and that was the players who have left Arsenal to date. And again, IG or Indian Gooner's channel is a good source of information, even though I had already read some information on Twitter. But how many players have currently left Arsenal, IG?
25 players have left this season, either on loan or on permanent basis. And out of those, 12 were from the starting 11. The starting regular starters have left the team.
So, are there any more players that really we would like to see shown the door, Richard?
Yeah.
That's
an easy one.
Well, for me, I could probably think of maybe 3 more players that I want off the wage bill.
They are
Xhaka, Ozil, Mustafi.
Mobay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
I didn't expect to hear Ozil. What did Ozil do? Can my guy just live? Like he just survived. He almost died not too long ago. Can my guy live?
Oh my God.
He just went through a life and death situation. Can my guy live? What did Ozil do? He did nothing. We haven't seen him since the season started. If we get rid of Mustafi, I'm happy. I'm willing to keep I'm willing to keep Granit Xhaka as a squad player. I think he can be a good squad player. I'm not going to get rid of Xhaka, but Mustafi got to go. I mean, my hope was he would have been gone this summer.
Yeah.
And he's unfortunately still here. So, Richard, I agree with you on Mustafi, but I don't think Ozil is the bird. We don't even see what he can do this season. Like, how can we want to get rid of him? He's not even playing. Like, I don't know, man. I think Ozil is a good player. I think when you see him in preseason, man, he looked like he's up to the par. He had an interview before the start of the season where he said he was playing with a lot of injury last season, which he was because he missed a lot of games due to injury. Seemed to be sick all the time. I'm willing to give him. I'm on my last straw with him, but I'm willing to give him the rest. Just like I'm giving Emery the rest of the season, I'm going to give Ozil the rest of the season too, and I have faith in him. But the shirt I got on right now. They got Ozil on the back. You can't just get rid of him. No, you can't. I spent a lot of money on these jerseys. You can't just get rid of my guy like that. Are you mad?
Even if Ozil moves away, you can still keep the T-shirt, man.
Man, no, you can't do that.
You can't jeopardize the whole team just for that T-shirt, dude.
Ozil, hey, let me tell you, let me show you. Let me give you my point of view, and I'm being serious with this. Fun and jokes aside.
Yeah, sure.
If Emery put as much energy in fitting in Ozil as he did Granit Xhaka, we would be a better team. Fact, if he had put that energy as he does, fitting in Granit Xhaka in this team, fitting in Ozil, we would be a better team. Because I think a midfield of Torreira, Guendouzi, and Ozil would have been better off than what we see this Sunday. It would have been. It would have been better off. And I think Ozil and Ceballos can rotate that number 10 spot. Now we got help for him. You know, I think he can perform, man. But like I said, we haven't seen him. He had a poor season last year. He really did. It was a really poor season, below standard from him. But I'm going to give him this year. I'm going to give him an extra year to see what he can do this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm loyal to Arsenal. I'm loyal to the players went out the window. All these players that leave our club and, you know, turn their backs on us and they start. Look at Giroud. He'll sit here and we sing his name and look what he does in the cup final. I have no loyalty to no players anymore. That's done. I have no loyalty to no players. But I do believe in giving everybody a fair chance. He's here. The transfer window is done. I want to see him play. I'm not going to say start him right now. If you know, I didn't even bring him up when I mentioned in our best midfield. I think Ceballos is a better player than him right now for our team. You know, I want to see Torreira, Guendouzi, and Ceballos start in midfield, and then we go from there. But I think he's still got something to do, man. But, you know, Mustafi, I'm done with Mustafi. I mean, I've been done with him for 2 years, so that's a different story.
IG, what's your thoughts on Ozil? I think I already know anyway.
Well, Ozil, according to me, I think the best thing that Ozil has done for the past 1.5 years is got a very good haircut, a good hairstyle. But I think if you have a club who's paying you 350K a week, you know, even Kevin De Bruyne does not get that much amount of wages. But if you are in the team for the creativity, for being the brain of the team, then I think the 5 assists, I think 5 goals and 2 assists that he got the whole season, last season, I think he doesn't deserve to get that much amount of wages. Truly said, he doesn't deserve that much.
He didn't play a lot of games, though. I mean, he was playing a game here and there. He played 1 game, then don't play 5. I mean, you can't expect a player to get up to par when he start 1 game, he comes off 60 minutes, and you don't see him for another 3 games. That's what was happening last season. He never had a consistent run in the team, never.
I completely agree, but I think if somebody gets 29 to, I guess 27, 29 games that he's got, and he's definitely getting a Europa League final game. I think he was following all the instructions of the coach, but definitely not being the Ozil that we know what he was last season. So I think that could be a definition of decline, maybe. And I think we need to be worried about it, because since we've got rid of lots of fringe players, and we've made a whole big of we are making that wage bill to breathe a bit now. So I think obviously, and we can attract more and more creative midfielders which are there in Bundesliga or some other leagues who can definitely come and add for Arsenal rather than Ozil being a player who's actually he has his issues. I think this season, at the start of the season, I think he was a part of a robbery or probably something like that with Sead Kolasinac. I think they had some of their issues, some security issues, yes, and he was ill. Ozil is always ill. I think for the past 3 seasons, during the start of the season, he's always ill. So I think that's the reason why Ozil. That's the reason why maybe he's ill, maybe. But we've seen him not to be during the initial parts of the season, not being the best that he is. And during the later stages, we say that I think he's dropped 4 or 5 games. I think the whole issue with Mesut Ozil right now is I don't know, the attitude is a problem, but I think he's out of favor from Emery. So I don't think so. We're going to see much of Mesut Ozil this season.
The only thing I'm going to say on Mesut Ozil is that I think we've probably moved on from Mesut Ozil. I mean, Mubay, you say that Ceballos and Ozil can probably rotate that number 10 position there. And,
they can't. The problem I have is you can't really name a lot of our midfielders that really better than, even though he's having a poor season. Like you just want to get rid of a player of his ability. We don't really have that kind of player in the squad. But really, I was so look at this is Emery's fault too. Look at the game that we played in our London Derby. We took Lacazette came off injured. We put off Mkhitaryan that ended up leaving the day after. 24 hours later, he was in Italy.
Terrible.
So you guys are telling me that decision. You want to tell me that performance that Mkhitaryan come on? He couldn't even control the ball. Every ball that went to him bounced off of him. You want to tell me that performance credited Emery, give him the right of way to not put Ozil on the field? We had 3 substitutions we could have made. He only made 2. You only made 2 substitutions, and you had Ozil on the bench. You had Nelson on the bench, and you made 2 substitutions. And you put Mkhitaryan on the field. That's leaving the club in 24 hours.
Mubay, can I respond to that?
Go for it, IG.
Well, I want to say that I think Unai Emery had said pre-match before the Tottenham game, when asked about Mesut Ozil, that Mesut Ozil's involvement in the training is improving, but he's trying his best. But that is not. He will not get any game time until and unless he's giving 100% in the training. So I think that's the reason why that would have not made Unai Emery making him the first choice in terms of making a substitution maybe. But I think Unai Emery prefers Aubameyang to continue for the 90 minutes. That's what we saw the whole last season as well. And since I think Lacazette could have continued for the 90 minutes, except for the fact that he had a minor hamstring niggle, and he asked for a substitution. And that's the reason why. And if you ask Mkhitaryan why he came in, I think the only reason Mkhitaryan came in because he was the only, I think, central attacking midfielder who can play as a wing.
There's no excuse for that. A player that's leaving in less than 12 hours shouldn't even be in the squad. If that's the case, we should have started Monreal. But
Monreal had left. Monreal had left.
Yeah, but Mkhitaryan is leaving in 12 hours. He's trying not to get injured. He's got to go for a medical in 12 hours. If he got to go for a 50-50 ball, he's not going to go for it. It's not going to happen. This is a player that the club in 12 hours. I'm not even talking about Ozil. Forget Ozil. Take Ozil out of the equation. You had Reece Nelson that's on the field, on the bench, that started the game against Newcastle, that's played in the game against Burnley. You had him on the bench. Take Ozil out of the equation. Emery is the manager. He could have switched the team up. He could have made it, put Pepe up front with Aubameyang and play Ozil behind him. He could have switched it up. He made that mistake. You can't put a player he got his mind on going to Italy in 12 hours. He's got to go for a medical. The last thing you want to do is get injured. If there's a 50-50 ball, Mkhitaryan is not going for that ball. He's not going for it because he got his mind set on going to another team. Emery made a mistake. That player shouldn't even be in the squad. Nobody can tell me any different. A player that's leaving in 12 hours shouldn't be in the squad. Same thing happened when we played Chamberlain away to Liverpool. when he was leaving in 24 hours. You see what happened. He didn't go for not one 50-50 ball because he know he had to go to Liverpool to do a medical the next morning. And Wenger made that mistake. You cannot play players that don't have their heart in it. In a North London derby? Come on, man. You can't do that.
I agree. I agree that all Arsenal fans are definitely passionate about at least about the North London derby. But I think a news that today came in that Henrik Mkhitaryan finally opened up about his move to Roma, and it happened at the final hour. Well, it's a deadline day deal that Roma got it. I mean, Arsenal management were trying to make a move like that, but Henrik Mkhitaryan did not know anything about the move.
Oh.
That's what I get to. That's what Henrik said in his interview post reaching to Roma. That's what he said. I think I've got the information. I think either from Twitter or somewhere. I've got the information like that.
I don't.
But
I don't believe. I don't believe it one bit.
I-
Players lie all the time anyway. I don't believe it. He know he was leaving. For me, he know he was leaving. Emery know he was leaving. Emery made a mistake, and if that's the case, it's a North London derby, man. You can't put players in there that's going in half-hearted. It's just the way it is. You cannot.
But don't you think there are so many Wenger era half-hearted players already there in the squad?
Yeah, I think there are one too many. If we have one, that is one too many.
And Mobay tends to like one special player whose jersey he's wearing.
No, I don't get it. Don't get me wrong. Ozil is not my favorite player in this squad. And if you follow this channel and watch my videos, you know my favorite player is Lacazette, Maitland, and Niles. Niles is my guy. I back him to the fullest. And nobody really, I know nobody really likes him because he's playing right back, but that's my guy. And Lacazette is my player. I just don't think we have 4 better midfielders that you can throw at me that's better than Mesut Ozil. We just don't have it. You can't show me 4 players. So people saying that, get rid of Ozil. Getting rid of Ozil is going to make us worse. Who you going to put in? Granit Xhaka? I don't see 4 players at Arsenal that play midfield that's better than Ozil. And it's not a wage issue. Forget about the wages. I don't want to hear nobody tell me about $350,000 a week. That's not Ozil's fault. If I could get that, I would have taken that too. That was Gazidis and Wenger messed that up. They should have got rid of him when he was trying to get that. That ain't got nothing to do with Mesut Ozil.
Mubay, let me just say this, right? So Mesut Ozil has been at Arsenal since 2013. We paid at that time, I think 42 million for him.
42.5 million pounds.
Right, 45 million pounds. So he was our club record at the time. When we bought Mesut Ozil, we bought that player to perform in the North London derby, against Liverpool's, against all the top teams there. We didn't buy Ozil to perform against the middle teams or the lower teams. We bought him to perform in finals, whether it's the FA Cup final, Champions League final, Europa League Cup final. In the Europa League final,
three FA Cups.
1 second. So in the Europa League Cup final, he was non-existent. And that has been the problem with Mesut Ozil, that he does not perform on the big stages. He's not consistent. Okay, he might be ill, but I want to see a player being committed, not half-hearted. You were the club record sign at that time. He hasn't had too many good seasons at Arsenal.
He came in when we won the drought. We never won for 12 years.
1 second. The way he
won 3 FA Cups.
In the Europa League Cup, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything.
Three FA Cups, true, but for the last 3 seasons, we are in the Europa League.
So it's just one player's fault. It's just Ozil's fault.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Okay. Let me say this. Last year he had a bad season. I give you guys that. I'm not defending that. Last year was a really bad season from his standard. I'm not defending that whatsoever. Don't get it twisted. I was just how much with you guys, as I said, he shouldn't be playing last year because he was not having a good season. When Leicester win the league, Ozil had 20 assists in the league. We was a striker away from winning the league. But nobody talks about that. See, this is the thing. It's easy to blame Ozil and mention his flaws, but nobody seemed to praise him when he's doing what he's supposed to do. When Leicester win the league, Ozil had 20 assists, the most assists by a player in England. He had 20 assists in the league. It wasn't his fault that Giroud couldn't score. It's not his fault. He can't assist and score. He didn't have a forward player. Wenger failed to buy a striker that season. We would have won the league and we would have been having a different conversation right now. Last season, it was a bad year for him. I'm not defending that whatsoever at all. But we bought Sanchez, we bought Ozil. We haven't won a trophy for a decade. We tried with Van Persie. We got to the final. We didn't win it. The FA Cup, we got knocked out by teams. We beat Manchester City. We beat Chelsea. We beat Manchester City in the semi-final. We beat Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup. He was a good part of us winning that cup that year. He's been here for however long he's been. We won 3 FA Cups. We haven't won before he got here. The season that Leicester win the league, he had 20 assists. Don't tell me that he haven't had good season. It's not his fault that we didn't put the player around him to support him. When Carzola, we broke down as a club when Carzola got injured because we was building something good, and Carzola got injured. And our whole midfield changes because now we surround Ozil with a bunch of average players. Let's get it right. Coquelin, everybody that we surrounded him with was average players, except for Sanchez. He was surrounded with average players. And when we put Sanchez up front in front of Ozil, Sanchez was playing that striker position. You see how well he did. I'm not saying that he had a good season last year. But I don't want to hear this. Since he came here, he hasn't done nothing for this club. We cannot say that.
No. I don't think so. Anybody's making a point wherein they're saying that he's not done anything for the club. I think the season that you're talking about is the season where Mesut Ozil was a beast. And according to you, he did not have a striker, and that's the reason why we could not make. I think we got a striker next season, and probably Mesut Ozil forgot his duties. Maybe. If Mesut Ozil leaves tomorrow, it's not going to be. I think we all Arsenal fans will turn up on him, or we will forget whatever he's done for this club. No, we will not. We'll remember Mesut Ozil has 74 to 75 assists for Arsenal since coming to Arsenal. Well, he was a very important player for us in the years that he was a beast for Arsenal. But I think to everything there is an end, and I can see the decline. I think you also can, but I think you are. I think you want to glorify the past. I completely agree to it, and I think even if Mesut Ozil leaves tomorrow, I'll definitely not forget whatever he's done for the club. Well, I also remember the third goal against Liverpool, the 3-3 match. No, I'll not forget whatever he's done for the club. But the only thing is that I don't see a future of Arsenal keeping Mesut Ozil in that midfield. That's a fact.
See, do you know what? In my point in this, do you know what? I've heard both sides of Mubay and IG as well. Do you know what? Mesut Ozil is an old-fashioned number 10. That's what he is. He's an old-fashioned number 10. He's not a type of player like Kevin De Bruyne is, where Kevin De Bruyne will track back. He will go in for tackles if he needs to. He will score goals. He will get assists. Ozil is not that. Ozil is the one that likes to open the door and to try and get in behind the defense. If you notice a lot of the time with Mesut Ozil, he likes to play out wide. So he can bring the defense over so the other players can create space for him to get the ball in. Ozil, I can't remember the last time that he's had 100% a good season from start to finish. I actually can't remember the last time he had that. The only time I can remember where he had a good season was part of that Leicester game, the time where Leicester won the league. I think that Ozil will have been crucial, and he was, but you can't say he didn't have a striker around him. He did have a striker around him, but the striker was just crap. Let's be completely honest. Olivier Giroud for us was like Bambi on ice. That's what he was. You know, you're seeing that. Why would you put in the ball up to Giroud in the Watford game that we lost, when really, if we won that Watford game at home, we would have been top of the league that year at home. You know, and there's Giroud looking across the line, but he was so slow. How can he not see that he
And
was?
that is my problem, Richard. That is my problem with this whole Ozil debate. Is like I don't have a problem with people saying he's in decline. He's not as good as he was at Real Madrid. Let's not get it twisted. He's not. But at Real Madrid, he was playing with better players. But look at the squad that we have had over the past few years. I don't care what Ozil did last year. We would have still lost game. If we scored 4 goals last year, the opposition would score 5. That's just the way it is. That's not Ozil's fault. You know, one player can only do so much. We saying that he hasn't had a good season, but if you guys can pick out one player that has played for Arsenal, and I'm going to go way back, I don't know, the last 4 years, just name one player that has done something for us that win us a cup or win us anything, like play 100% for the whole season. The game is more about the game is. Yeah. I know, but Alexis Sanchez was playing with Ozil. Alexis Sanchez wasn't nothing when Ozil got in decline. Yeah, Sanchez went down with us.
But you just asked me the question.
Yeah, but Ozil was there with him. That's what I'm saying. You saying that Ozil didn't carry the team? Aaron Ramsey showed up at Wembley. Come on now. I'm sure. I see. I followed a lot of guys up here that throughout the season wanted Ramsey gone in the middle of the season because Ramsey was crap. Ramsey is Wenger's favorite player. Ramsey must have nudes of Wenger. But Ramsey showed up at Wembley and Ramsey is God. That's not a good player for me. That's not a good player for me. Ramsey, I love Ramsey. But I see a lot of fans that wanted Ramsey out because he couldn't perform during the season when it get cold in December, when it get cold in January. But, he showed up in March. Ramsey's a god. No, it doesn't work like that for me. No.
IG, you want to say something?
Well, I think you need to dilute that, man. You need to dilute the Hennessy, man. It's actually too strong for you. Well,
you guys, the topics that you sent me did not say Ozil. It did not say Ozil. I would not come on this.
I will not say that now. Okay, I'll not say that now. But I think I have to address this. You said that Ozil is definitely not the one he's not the same Ozil that who played for Real Madrid. But I believe Ozil is still not the Ozil he played for Arsenal as well. Because I don't think so. If he was, I think cutting the defense open for any team against, I think, obviously Ozil is a very an old-fashioned attacking midfielder, yes, but defensively, I think it actually depends upon the manager as well. Yeah, I think Wenger utilized Ozil differently or expected differently from Ozil, but I think Unai Emery wanted him to put in that defensive work as well.
Yeah,
which is the biggest problem of Ozil, because backtracking, I don't think so Ozil knows anything about it, not even the spelling maybe, but the only thing that we can expect from Ozil going forward with an attack, he will definitely find either Hector Bellerin or Lacazette. I think he's great while going forward, but backtracking and telling him to do a defensive midfielder duty, it's like he feels like a celebrity. How dare you give me instructions? I think those are that is the exact kind of attitude that we could have we saw him when he was being substituted by Emery last season. So I think if you pay somebody a week, and if you put them on the bench in the initial stages, then give them a chance. So obviously, I think the anger will come out, and I think just like the Hennessy is coming out, I think the anger came out there as well.
From my point of view, Ozil is a better defensive player than Granit Xhaka. I haven't seen Ozil give away a penalty. That means they both are not even the best Arsenal players in their respective positions as well. But Xhaka start every game. That's my point. That's my point. Xhaka start every game. He gives away goal. Ozil doesn't give away goal. That's my point. Granit Xhaka, Ozil is a better defensive.
He's always sick.
He's always sick.
He's got a
He's always
backache. He's got a cold. Anyway. One moment. Let me quickly go into the chat. The chat is not working on the app on my laptop, but I've still got it working on my phone. I've got some messages here. One from the English Conversation Club, and they say, "Yo, Indian Gooner, what's up?" And then we've got one here from London Old School. We said, I think when we were talking about Mkhitaryan playing, London Old School says that Emery should have played Martinelli instead of Mkhitaryan. And then he also
I
goes.
think Martinelli was not even in the squad.
He wasn't on the bench.
No.
He's not on the bench.
This is where Emery should have went with Nelson instead of Mkhitaryan.
Yeah. What happened to Nelson?
My point exactly. I brought that up, but nobody seemed to talk about it. Everybody want to talk about Ozil, but no. Let's play Mkhitaryan. Yeah.
We spoke about it before. Anyway, let me just get on here. There's just one more in the chat, and another message from London Old School, and he says Ozil had Laka and Aubameyang in front of him last season, and he did nothing. Pure luxury player. That's not me saying that. That's London Old School. Okay, Mubay?
We tried saying it. He doesn't agree.
I said he had a bad season last year. I didn't I say that? I did.
Yeah, I'm just reading the message.
London Old School to DM me on Twitter. I need to talk to him. Mobay Gooner. Ask him. Me and Mobay Gooner. I need to talk to you, bud.
Let's go on to the I think the last point, which was the prediction for the next match after the 2-week international break. Predictions for Watford. So the last time we met Watford, we beat them 1-0 and 2-0. The cojones. Do we still have the cojones to beat them? Richard?
Yeah, of course we have. We've got it in us to go and beat anyone in the league, but then we've got it in us to go and concede 50 goals in one season. It depends on what Arsenal turns up to games. It was very Arsenal to, go and beat Bayern Munich, for instance, and then go and lose to Hull the next week after. That's the sort of mentality we had back then. But yeah, I think we've got it in us to go and beat anyone. But it's having the right balance in that midfield, and you need someone to come in to to create chances. Because, as I said earlier in the show, why would you play 3 defensive midfielders? Where's the creativity coming from to provide the balls to Pep, to Abba, to Lack? But I even noticed that during that Tottenham game, Aubameyang doesn't look comfortable on the wings. Play him more centrally. Yeah. And that's where he would like to. Because if you play Abba in the central role, he has more freedom because he will have the pace, and he's got that. He's got the pace and the power to get whatever side he wants to get onto people, and he's good at taking shots from outside the box. So that's my only problem. But I think that Emery, in terms of the Watford game, we need to go with the 4-3-3. But we need someone, either Ozil or either Ceballos, to come in and to give a creative unit, because we don't. I know he's laughing. When I
wonder why is he laughing.
I know, but do you know what? We've got two players, but the only advantage that I would say Ozil gives is that he can slow down the pace of the game,
and that's going to be to our detrimental, because that's
exactly
not the way Arsenal plays. Arsenal should play at a high tempo game.
And this is why that I don't want Ozil. It's true. This is the reason why that I don't want Ozil in the side. This is why, because if you looked at Arsenal throughout the years, even before Mesut Ozil came onto the scene, and the likes of Alexis Sanchez, we was playing quick, fast-paced football. But now we sort of do and we sort of don't. Where the whole fast-paced moving football is gone. We don't have to play fancy football every game, and us fans expect that. Let's be completely honest. Yeah, us fans, we do expect for us to play beautiful football every game. Even if you're not playing great, just grind out for a 1-0. Just play just play basic football just to get that win. You know, if you look at the way Ozil plays, he does when we're in the counter attacking.
Be careful, because I can see Mubay's winding up.
When Ozil was playing and we're on the counter attack, Ozil likes to play fast, quick 1-2 football. He likes that because he was used to that when he was playing over in Real Madrid. You know, because the way Real Madrid play, they liked it quick football, quick 1-2 football. But I've noticed, but when he's been in the side, he slows the pace down. So I don't know whether that Ceballos, even I've told you this out, I think that Ceballos has came in to be Mesut Ozil's replacement. Because why is it that Kolasinac has played a game, considering all this robbery stuff that's happened, but Mesut Ozil hasn't?
Because he's sick. He's been sick.
Yeah, he's ill. He's Ozil.
So he says that. How many times has he said that during last season?
One too many times.
Exactly. This is what and I think at one point last season, Mesut Ozil and Unai Emery had a bust up in training, and Ozil walked out.
And Mobay does not agree.
Oh man.
IG to bring in proofs. Sorry.
Your turn, bro.
IG.
Yes.
What's your prediction? The formation and the lineup for the Watford game. Do we still have the cojones to beat them?
I think we've got 11 cojones, and probably some of them are very younger ones. I think since Mkhitaryan left, I still believe I think Ozil can make an entry in this game. Not for Mobay, but I think for helping Arsenal. But I'm expecting Reece Nelson. And I think probably a team, I think Unai Emery is going to turn up to the same team that he used for Burnley, and but with an entry of Ozil there, and definitely, or either I think he'll go for Ceballos. But I'm expecting Arsenal to play a very attacking football in the first half.
Yeah,
I believe. But since Watford are very poor now, since the first 4 games they've performed very poorly, they're desperate for a win. So I think anything can happen. But I think Arsenal can. I believe they can keep a clean sheet. I think we can definitely go forwards. But 4-3-3. I think I think last season it was 4. What was it? Yeah, the wing back, the 3-4. Yeah, that kind of a system wherein and he employed it, and I think Unai Emery employed it for 75 to 80% of all the matches last season. But surprisingly, after we saw Reece Nelson staying with us, not going on loan, and Nicolas Pepe arriving, we are seeing a different system, 4-3-3. So I expect 4-3-3 system to be employed. But I think Torreira will start, because I think his height was an advantage last time to get a red card to the cojones guy. He got a red card last time, so I think Torreira can help.
Before I go to Mubay, IG, last season we saw Unai Emery adopt a very high pressing game, to try and get back possession of the ball. He hasn't done that this season so far. Do you have a reason why you think he hasn't adopted a high pressing game to try and get back, put pressure on the opposition?
Well, Mubay actually has gone to a restricted area.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, no, I didn't even give my lineup on my prediction for the Watford game. Do you know what? Going back at it, I actually would stick with a 4-3-3. I don't know whether Mesut Ozil could come into the mix after missing 4 games, but I wouldn't risk it. I really wouldn't risk it, because he's had no game time apart from pre-season. We would see. This is where I would probably be expecting either Bellerin or Tierney could be back. It is a possibility, because they said that they could be back either the middle of September and maybe start of October. Maybe they could be back. So I would go with Lino in goal. That's definitely certain. As a back 4, if they're fit, I would go with Bellerin at right back. I would go with Socrates and David Luiz, and I'll go Tierney right back.
Right, because what I've heard is that Rob Holding is the closest to making a comeback.
Yeah, well, if
And
that's the case,
a
then
little bit of a way off.
yeah, if
Richard,
that is the case, then I would actually take out Socrates and bring in Holding.
Okay. IG, sorry, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, if I could stop you, I think the latest news is that Kieran Tierney and Hector Bellerin will join Arsenal in full training in the mid of September. So you can expect them towards the end of the September. But I think after 15 we have hell lots of games coming forward. It's via Aston Villa and then Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Carabao Cup is also coming up.
Yeah,
I think that will be. I think that will be the first. I think their first game would be in the League Cup against Nottingham Forest, not the Premier League.
Yeah. Okay.
And probably the same as Holding too. I don't think we're going to just throw any one of them back just in the fire just like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. So Mobay, I'm going to give you the last word. So yeah, what do you think about the Watford game? Do you think we can strike it lucky and beat them lot? What's your idea about that?
I'm gonna try not to bring up Ozil in this conversation because it seems to get drawn out a little bit. But yeah, man, I'm fully confident in his team, man, and the manager, and I think he will eventually get that midfield three right. I think.
Yeah.
My headphone just went dead. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. My headphone just went dead. So, but yeah, he will get it right in the midfield, and I think the game at Watford away from home, they're desperate for points, as I think IG said earlier. They're desperate for points. They haven't played well in the first 4 games that they are playing. So I think we'll come out. Of it with a tight picture. But over the next, look at the 2 teams that we just played, man. We played Spurs and we played Liverpool. If you look at the next game, our biggest opponent in that game is Manchester United, who is not that good. I expect to beat them also. So I expect us to go on a run, man. I expect us the next 5 games. I expect to win them all, and it's not being overconfident. And I'm not gonna pick a starting lineup or pick any perfect play. I just know that Emery needs to fix up the midfield. I'm gonna leave it to him. He's the manager. I'm just a fan. I'm just here sitting. I just need 3 points. I care less who we play. If you don't play Ozil for the next 10 games and we get 3 points, I care less. I do not care.
Yeah.
3 points is all that matters. I'm an Arsenal fan. Like I tell you guys, I'm loyal to no player whatsoever. I do not care. All I'm worried about is getting 3 points over the next 10 games. It's a good run going for us. If you look at the schedule, I think we need to build up ahead of steam now going into the the Christmas period where you get a little bit busy. Before we start playing 2 games a week, Europa League, I think this is the ideal time to get some points on the table. And 7 points from 4 games. We only lost to Liverpool away. If any fans is complaining about that, you in a bad place. So I think we can get a big. I'm not going to pick a score. I'm not going to pick a team because me and you guys just know that we don't even know what our best team is now because Emery just picks whoever he wants. But 3 points is a plus. Let's get 3 points at Watford and let's move on in the league.
Yeah. Okay. So just before we wrap up this part 1 of the Easy Talk, let me quickly get into the chat. The chat is actually working now. So we've got let's have a look here. We've got Andrew from Dial Square to Win. He's saying, "What's up?" And another one here. London Old School, I totally agree. I said the same pre-match that Martinelli should have been on the bench. He would have ripped Sanchez to pieces the last half. Because towards the end of the game, you could see the Spurs players, they were out on their feet.
Stretched. They were so stretched. And this is why I was so frustrated. Because if you rewatch that game, the last 10 minutes, the amount of diagonal balls that came from the right side over to where Mkhitaryan is at. He was literally one-on-one with Sanchez. I counted at least
so many times. So many times.
This wasn't at the halfway line I'm talking about. I'm talking about on the edge of the 18-yard box. Like it was so this is why I was so frustrated because he's not that player to bring on at that point in the game. He is not that player. I do not care what He's not that player to bring on when we try to win a game to bring you that final ball. The amount of diagonal ball that got played over to him when he came on, and he was 1-on-1 with a player that's playing out of position.
Yeah, Mkhitaryan. I don't know. Right, so Mubay, I think his line's gone down. I've got one here from Andrew from Dial Square to Where, and he says, "IG, bless you, Indian Gooner."
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bless you too, mate.
Okay, and one more. I think. I think we're done. We're done. We're done. I can go back. No, we're done. We're done for the live stream. Listen, I know Mubay has gone off. I think he's probably falling off his chair, drinking too much Hennessy. I'm not sure what's going on there. But before I wrap up this segment, Richard, Richard's gone as well. Richard's gone as well.
Oh my God.
Richard, yeah, he's frozen out as well. But anyway, listen. I'm gonna call. Oh, what's happened here? Sorry, IG. Well, there's just a couple more chats that's come through there.
No problem.
Oh, all right. So because he sneezed, okay.
Okay, we watched it. We watched it.
Yeah, and Richard, a statue. Okay. Well, listen. Let me draw this part one of the Easy Talk to a close. I want to say to our guest Mubay, who's apparently gone off some problems with his Wi-Fi, and also Richard, who's my host every Monday on Fan Comments. IG, I want to say an absolute big thank you for coming on to the Canon for Your TV channel. Some people out there get the feeling that it happens so easily. It does take a lot of work to trying to communicate with other YouTubers, seeing that they're in the same time zone, if their work schedules allowed it. But IG, I have to say thank you so very much for coming onto Canon for Your TV. It's the first
You're welcome.
time, but I think it's not going to be the last time we're not going to have you on Canon for Your TV. I know you've got to go because, again, the time zone, I think it's early hours in India, isn't it? I think.
It's 4.5 hours. I think it's 1 a.m. now.
Right. Okay. So there you go. So yeah, whoever's watching this very interesting first segment, which got a little bit heated in the middle of Mubay and everyone else here, being just drinking a little bit too much Hennessy. Make sure you go over, subscribe to Indian Gooner's channel. I'll leave the link in the comments box below. Make sure you also subscribe to Richard's channel, which is Arsenal TV, as well, that you follow Mobay Gooner on Twitter. But if you've been wondering who or what you've been watching, you have been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. And good night to you all.